Yeah, we on Boss Talk 101. Yeah, we gon' talk.
And don't leave 50. Who own your masters? Who own your masters? I buy your masters. You better I will buy your masters. You struggling making that G-Unit film studio out there in Louisiana where that cheapest land at. You thought you was gonna be able to do it. You thought you was gonna be able to get them loans, and it ain't. What's wrong? What's taking so long? I know you want to make your mama one of them walking stars thing. Put down there. How your mama live? Make her own walking star. You struggle and don't leave Louisiana. Don't quit like that, because you showed the picture of how you wanted it to look. We call it renderings. You had the renderings, then you try to go get them loans, and ain't nobody loan you that money. You ain't even built the G in the studio yet. That might be why when I stood next to Meech, your knees buckled. Your knees buckled. Put on, don't leave.
Wow. Make sure you guys like, subscribe to the channel, man. Make sure you guys follow us on all streaming platforms. 50 Cent, of course, you've seen where 50 had spoken on Rick Ross opening for Bow Wow. That's something that 50 did yesterday. And once he did that, Rick Ross has a reply. Rick Ross pretty much is clapping back at 50 Cent because he feels like 50 Cent hadn't stood on the fact of doing this situation in Shreveport. What do you guys think? Do you think that 50 is slowing around on that project, or do you feel like 50 is right on point? Rick Ross is saying he'll buy his masters and all kind of stuff as usual. They're really, like I said, this is a war that's been going on forever. And 50 Cent is pretty much trolling Rick Ross, saying that he opening up for Bow Wow. So these are two shots recently taken by two brothers who basically, you know, they into it at all times. There's a war going on, and it just don't stop, man. You know, do you think that 50 pretty much was wrong for calling out Rick Ross for the Lil Bow Wow opening, saying that Rick Ross is opening for Lil Bow Wow? Or do you think Rick Ross is pretty much over, you know, the top with the fact that he's clowning 50 Cent for not opening up that studio yet? These both are two guys who are making a lot of money, and they're not trying to hear it on backing down from each other's comments on Instagram. It's just not going to stop like that. These guys have been at it for years now. I mean years, and they're not backing down no matter what. So that's why Rick Ross said, hey man, you know, when I got the picture with Big Meech, your knees buckled, and he's really giving it to him like, your knees buckled. So it's like, man, like, do you really think these guys will ever come to an agreement to just stop talking about each other, or are they going to go on forever talking about each other? You know, the one thing I can say, they both still working. They one on wing stops and all type of other stuff with a big house down in ATL. The other one has so many different things going on. Raising Canaan Caesars has started back up, and it's still a thing where they just feel like they don't respect each other. After 50 Cent violated many years ago when they got into it, and he brought his Rick Ross's baby mama down, and she was pretty much giving up all the tea on the young man. It hasn't stopped, and it's more aggressive now than ever. So Big Meech comes out of prison, and once he comes out of prison, Rick Ross, you know the story, has the song, I Think I'm Big Meech, Larry Hoover, and basically rocking that song like that. So I guess Big Meech needed, you know, of course his son comes out, Lil Meech, and say, hey, Pops just needed some bread. So he goes over to 50 Cent. I mean, over to, well, at first he did talk to 50 Cent, but then he goes over to Rick Ross, take pictures, hang out with him. I hadn't been seeing him hanging out with him lately, though. But it definitely was a thing that he was, you know, he done, and I don't know if he regrets it or not, but it definitely made 50 Cent move in a different direction, calling Big Meech a rat and all kind of different things. And now you got Ricky Rose, who is pretty much falling, you know, out with 50, falling out with the real Rick Ross, Freeway. He's slamming and moving and shaking toward all of the situations. He's been beefing with everybody. It's been a hell of a first off for the third quarter for him. The first quarter for him. He's been slinging and banging and moving and popping and you know how that go. He's not trying to lose his what he's built up, but there's been a lot of back and forth when it comes down to Rick Ross and Rose here, and because it's tough calling him Rick Ross, because every time I call him Rick Ross, I think about Freeway, and it's just such a mixture of who they are. But then when you think about him and 50's situation, it been going on so long. I think it was going on before Freeway even came home. So he was Rick Ross, slanging and banging with 50 Cent the whole time, and then when Freeway come home, they get to slanging and banging. But just think about it for a minute. I don't think Rick Ross has got a chance to really just enjoy his fortune without, and this is Rose I'm talking about, without having to scrap with everybody when it comes to lip wrestling and back and forth ever since he came in the game. You know, one of his biggest songs is with Drake. Now him and Drake don't even get along. He started off beefing with Jeezy too. Him and Jeezy had big problems at first. They wasn't talking, and they got into a little scuffle at one of their award shows, if y'all remember. So Rick Ross has not backed down from any situation. Rose we talking about here, and he's been swinging and banging with everybody. People come up with the fact that, hey, he was a CO. He worked with them people. He is a known, when you look at it, he's a person who worked with, he was a correctional officer, and everybody knows it. But at the end of the day, he's been able to clean off his, all his issues, and keep going with big hits. Just a hell of a rapper, and I think the rapping part is what brought him this far. 50 has not been able to shut him down like he has done a lot of people. 50 has shut down people like Young Buck, all type of people he's had issues with. He slammed everybody that you can think of. Anybody you can think of. Vivica Fox, anybody that he was going to war with, he took them out. But for some reason, Rick Ross have not backed down. Rose, that is, and he's steadily coming on with it. He's not backing down from any issue with 50. And I don't think this stops, guys. I think we'll be looking at this the entire 2025. I don't think it stops at all. I think these guys are going to continue to go back and forth. Like I said, when 50 posted that Bow Wow that Rick Ross, Ricky Rose was pretty much opening up for Bow Wow, that offended him. And next thing you know, he claps back and says, I'll buy your masters. Quit playing, I'll buy your masters. You didn't finish the situation down there in Shreveport. You couldn't get that loan? Now we don't know these things to be fact, because we know both of these guys got a lot of money going on, and they're taking their time being strategic on how they're dealing with situation. I don't know if Ricky Rose knows something a little extra that we don't know. All this stuff is things that's projected and being said. Now we do know that Ricky Rose is opening up for Bow Wow, or I don't say opening up with him, but they all on a show together. And we do know these things are happening because of different circumstances, or you got to put your information on out there of where you're going to be at. But, man, y'all got to get in the comments and let me know, man, what's going on with, do you guys think Ricky Rose and 50 Cent will ever be able to squash this beef? Do you think they'll always continue to do this until one of them's career collapse, or somebody moves on or pass on? And even if they did, they're going to smoke on each other's death and prey on each other's situation, because they just don't like each other. So I'm just trying to figure out what the hell are they going to do when it comes to. I don't know if the internet will be the same if they stop doing it. I think they pretty much created something to where everybody waits to see what they're going to get into it about next. Let me know what you guys think. Would the internet be the same if Ricky Rose and 50 Cent wasn't going back and forth on this thing? What do y'all think, man? Like I said, I just was seeing where they going back and forth. They're pretty much trolling each other again. And this time it's on the subject of Shreveport hadn't happened. Rick Ross opening up for Bow Wow. What do you think? Get in the comments, man. Like I said, just give me some a review that you can use. Have a great day. Boss Talk 101 review.
Yeah, we on Boss Talk 101. Yeah, we gon' talk.